Hi everyone. Today, I've picked out some great stories for you. And so, let's begin. Be an asshole on the road. I won't stop to help. The place I work closes at 10 and I'm always closing. Halloween night, I was going home and to get home, I had to cross over a massive and long hill. It's almost pitch black on this hill and it's crawling with deer. But not people who subscribe to my channel, so please subscribe. That may even be an understatement. Anyways, I was going a little under the speed limit since they were everywhere and constantly walking into the road. As I'm driving, an old pickup truck comes up and rides my ass while flashing his high beams. I speed up and so does he, still flashing his lights. I held my speed because I didn't want to risk hitting one since my car is so small. He then passes me while laying on his horn and flipping me off. He floors it down the road at like 90 and disappears. I get being frustrated. I was going sort of slow, but he could see the deer. They were running around everywhere. Maybe like a minute down the road, I see headlights in a ditch. Lo and behold, this dude's bumper is obliterated. He's okay though, just standing and observing his damage with his hands on his head. As I drive by, honk and wave. Happy Halloween, you kin fucking hellbilly. My wife did something similar last year. When we got some heavy snowfall, some dude starts driving down our residential road and is trying to do donuts and look cool. He loses control and almost takes out the mailboxes. He gets his car stuck. My wife and I are shoveling snow and cleaning up in front of our house and this guy yells over a little help please. She says, without batting an eye, no thanks. And please stop driving like a dick. There are kids playing on this road. We went back to cleaning sidewalk and I just smiled. My first intention was to go help him, but when she said that I just let him be. Please tell your wife a random internet person thinks this was the greatest thing they've read all day. 2 random internet persons. Make that 3 random internet persons. 4. At a similar one here, no deer though. My mum driving a little car with 2 young children on board and this guy in a pickup starts swerving behind and harassing her. When the overtaking lane opened up, he shot off. About 3 kilometers up the winding mountain road, here he is again with the vehicle partly hanging over a sheer drop, snagged by a guardrail. Before the days of mobile phones and a good 30 meters drive either way for help. He wasn't going to drop over, but he couldn't get out without a tow truck, so we drove by and waved. Considering the dude was okay, perfectly petty. I'm more worried about the deer. I'm in a rural area, so we have to play dodge deer every night we drive. I once took my car into the body shop after encountering half a dozen deer just standing in the middle of the highway. What did ya hit? The shop guy asked. 2 deer. He looked out over the parking lot, expecting to see some totaled vehicle. I pointed out my car, with a broken headlight and a scuff in the paint on the passenger door. Lucky night for both me and the deer. One of my favorite deer stories was about a relative who was driving in the rural south late at night. She hit a deer, but the deer unfortunately didn't make it. She called the sheriff of the nearest town, and when he got there the first thing he said was, "Do you want the deer?" She said no, she just wanted help, to which he responded, "Then can I have it?" So she had to wait in his truck while he tied the deer on his rack before taking her into town to talk to the local mechanic. Gotta love small town country life. What could you have done anyway? One assumes he has a phone. You're better than I am because I probably would have stopped and told him about himself. Told him about himself. That's a beautiful choice of words. Should have slowed down and yelled out the window, "Look out for the deer," then drove on. I like the British comment, "Excuse me sir, you can't park there." British humor is the best. One time on my way to South Carolina, there was this asshole driving super aggressively, weaving between cars and almost causing multiple wrecks, including my mom's car. I said that guy's going to crash. 10 minutes later we see him crashed in the median with his engine smoking. We both laughed without remorse. I once had a similar experience. I was driving down a somewhat heavily used road in the country, in the Midwest. It had been snowing heavily for several days, but this night the wind was blowing like crazy on top of it all. That means not only slick roads, but drifting of snow, and clearly no snowplows had been down this road in a long while. Plus, with solid cloud cover, it was a very dark night with a view further diminished by snow blowing everywhere. So I was going slower to be safe. The car gets on my ass, starts flashing his lights, obviously the driver is frustrated with my driving slower. First chance he gets he passes me, engine revving with everything it had, probably flipping me off, but I didn't look, I was busy watching the road. Not even a mile down the road, sure enough, he had hit a drift of snow on the road and had pulled him into the ditch. Couldn't even open his door as the snow was up to the bottom of his window. I opted to still stop though, ask if he needed help. Dude wouldn't even look at me, lol, just said he was fine and would call for help. I hope he at least learned a lesson about driving in the country at night in the middle of a snowstorm with high winds. I had something similar happen years ago. I was driving on interstate highway and was pulled for speeding. As the state trooper was finishing the ticket, a car rode by blowing their horn and speeding by. I guess they thought they were in the clear. The trooper riding me up told me, "Don't worry, there is another trooper just up the road." There was. I had the satisfaction of waving and blowing my horn at them as I drove by. Wife tries to help another woman having credit card issues. So I just got off the phone with my wife. This story may not be revenge per se, but nevertheless it's about 3% revenge. Anyway, wife is at Costco doing the weekly shopping. She is standing in line and the lady in front of her is having issues with her cards not working. She is frantically calling her husband trying to get it fixed. Trying over and over to use it with no luck. She tells the cashier she will just put everything back. My wife, being the kind-hearted person she is, starts surveying the lady's items by looking at the card. At that moment the lady chimes in, "What are you looking at, bitch?" So my wife, who is not very confrontational, immediately claps back and says, "Well, I was going to help you out and buy the stuff for you, but not after the way you just talked to me." Apparently this triggered the lady and she stormed off, leaving all the items on the belt and in the cart. Lesson here is maybe treat people with respect no matter the circumstances. You never know when you might need help. That's happened to me too. The person's at card declined about 3 times. She was trying to call because it was supposed to be there that day, but because of some reason or another, it was going to be a day late. I had $72. My things would have been about $23, leaving $49 left. I was getting paid at midnight, no big deal. I tried to quickly look at how much the total was to see if it was less than that. I knew she didn't have that many things. Then she said almost the same thing, "What the fuck are you looking at? You got a problem, bitch." I said no, I was trying to see if it was less than $50 because I would have paid for it, but since it's not my problem, she too just stormed off. I walked over and sure enough was only $47 something. I totally would have done it too if she wouldn't have been so rude. Why are people like this? Even if someone was being a bit nosy about me being broke, I wouldn't snap at them like that. She was probably embarrassed at the card declining and then saw someone checking out her card and took her frustration out on Op's wife. Your wife is amazing. Very kind that she would have helped someone in need, and her comeback was fantastic. She was embarrassed her card declined, and if she sees someone eyeing her, she likely got defensive as it appears someone is judging her up and down. Obviously she's wrong, but it's pretty understandable to be upset at first. Storming off and not thinking things through makes no sense though. Oh, your wife sounds like such a nice person. I've had rough days hoping I had enough money to pay for all my items. I can't imagine someone paying for me and taking that stress away. At least her heart was in the right place, even though the other woman was rude. It's not the first time she has done it. When we were younger we struggled to put food on the table and live check to check. So now that we are in a better place, it's easier to help out when an opportunity arises. I call this the circle of life. We also struggled when we were newly married, and there were a few times we were helped out of a situation by a kind stranger. We now try to help others when we can, because now we are able to. Early in the pandemic when toilet paper was scarce, I was doing my shopping. You all remember the lines in the early days of the pandemic. There was a young Hispanic mother in front of me in line. I noticed that she had a large package of toilet paper. I asked her where she got it. She immediately spoke to her son asking for a translation. He replied and she took the package from her cart and put it in mine and told her son to run and get another for them. When we got to the cashier, it became obvious she didn't have enough cash for her purchase. She told her son to take the toilet paper back. At that time I stepped in and told the cashier to add her entire order to mine and I would pay for it. The lady was thankful. When I was loading my groceries in my car, her husband came up to me and tried to give me what money they had. I don't speak fluent Spanish, but I can get my point across. I told him, "Hoy tú, mañana yo." This is one of my favorite sayings. It means today you, tomorrow me. I learned it when a family of migrants pulled over and helped me when I broken down on the side of the road. I read a post where someone wanted to pay it forward at the Starbucks drive-thru. But they changed their mind when the car behind them got to drink number 9. This pay it forward is one of the stupid things I've ever seen. No thank you, I pay for my order. If the guy in front wants to pay mine, good for him. I still ain't paying for the guy behind me. Not to mention it's a headache for the employees. Want to do something nice? Give the baristas a good tip. You mean pay it forward to the person actually making the coffee? What a wild and crazy idea. The only thing I can think of for why someone would get angry at them is that they are embarrassed and feel like the person looking at them is judging them instead of figuring out if they can afford to help them. But also humility is sorely lacking in today's society. I enjoyed this one so much I read it 3 times. Tell your wife that this internet stranger said, "Well done." Oops, I used up all the hot water. So, I 19 share a house with 3 roommates. My partner P20, childhood friend F19, and childhood friends XE20. E and F broke up right before we all moved in. An important thing to remember in this story is that E is a creature of habit. They shower at the same time every night. Onto the story. So, all of us agreed on quiet hours for laundry because the laundry room is right next to Pi's bedroom and it's extremely difficult to sleep when the laundry is going. However, E has been continuously doing laundry outside of quiet hours, leading to me being unable to sleep at a decent time for days on end. I sent a message into the group chat, simply reminding everyone of our agreed upon quiet time. E blew up at me calling me delusional, insisting he never agreed to quiet hours, etc. This got me very upset, so I decided to take a nice long hot shower. I was in there quite a while, since I was very upset. Eventually I had to end my shower, because I ran out of hot water. It's too bad that I ran out of hot water right before he usually takes his shower. And I think I'm going to continue taking my hot showers at this time. I've discovered that they really help with my insomnia. Best part of this is that we have a good enough hot water system that all four of us could take a hot shower back to back. He would have had more than enough hot water if his laundry wasn't going. Sorry, E. My room was next to the kitchen and a new girl would hand wash her pots and pans at around 1 a.m. most nights. I communicated the issue to her. Guess what? She was understanding and changed the time. Any normal sane person understands. He is an asshole. NGL, you had us in the first half. I'm so used to everyone doing the F19 and my partner M20 thing to represent gender and age that I read P and E and almost started googling what genders they were short for. Add a small lock that you can thread through the washer plug and got lock the washing machines on the way to bed and unlock it when you get up. Edit to include that if the agreement of quiet time was made, your lock is just enforcement of the agreement. Oh, this video has come to an end. If you want more such cool stories, then go to one of the many following videos.